It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Nielsen, Cass, and Hernan Salas with you one last time for Hernan, his final episode of Two Guys and a Goalie before he leaves us for bigger and better things with the Edmonton Elks of the Canadian Football League. And no Joaquin Gage in this episode. Hernan Gager texted me and he said, I just emotionally can't be there for Hernan's last episode. So I'm going to go to the mountains with my family, which is what Cass recently did as well. So, Hernan, how you doing, buddy? Final episode. What's going through your mind, man?
A lot of emotions. I was just finished up the lowdown for the last time. I got a little misty, and I'm older, right? So I'm getting more emotional. I find I'm more sensitive.
Yes.
But it's great. I'm gonna miss it. Obviously, like this week it hit me. Like last week I was like, I still got a week. Don't worry about it. But this week every day it's like, holy smokes, I'm actually leaving. But still be around the guys that we're all buddies, so we'll still hang out and all that. But yeah, it's you're excited, but you're also sad, right? It's a mixed bag of emotions right now.
And so I got to ask you, because I've never asked you this on the radio or anything, but when growing up, like, did you want to get into broadcasting, or was it something that you decided to dive into? Like, I got buddies who didn't decide that they wanted to get into it till like they were 27, 28, 29, or what was it like for you? Because now you move on, like you've done the broadcasting now, and now you move on to another career that could be a 20-year career for you. So like, what was that like for you?
It was funny because, born and raised here, my dad coming over from Chile, he always got us, me and my cousins, because I had three boy cousins. He always had us at Eskimo games and Oiler games, so we became fans. And me and my cousin that were closer in age, we'd always record it. We do fake radio shows in the basement, and he would be Rod Phillips and I'd be Morley Scott. It was hilarious. And we record ourselves and do radio shows. So it was always something I wanted to do, sports related. But life takes you in crazy paths and ways, and I finally got my shit together, and I was in my early 30s, and I was like, I was doing labor jobs, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. And then I had a lot of people saying like, well, go do your radio thing. Like, you've always wanted to do it. So it was a long journey. I had to do night school for a couple of years to get the necessary courses and all that. And then I finally got into Nate at 32 years old, guys, to do broadcasting.
Which isn't easy. I mean, when I was in broadcast school, we had a guy who was 30 and the rest of us were 19, 20. And I always thought, and he ended up, he had the maturity level of a 15-year-old, so he fit in really well. And he ended up broadcasting for like 12, 13 years after that. But I always thought about, like, that had to have been a pretty good commitment to get back into it at that age, man.
And I got lucky because one of my classmates, and he became one of my good friends at Nate, he was my age. So we kind of hit it off. And everybody knew we were the older guys. But like you said, we were fun too, right? Like, it's not like we were like grumpy or anything like that. So finally did it, and then got hired here while still in school. And that was my dream. It was funny because I don't know if a lot of people know this. I used to be a caller for the post-game shows. I used to call into Gregor, Corey Graham. And I had a fake name, and like my friends would be like, are you calling tonight? And I'd be like, yeah. And I'd be on 1260 all the time, just talking smack about the Oiler game. Right. And you got to think those years, they were bad. And then to be on the other side was just surreal. And honestly, guys, it was my dream job. I wanted to cover the Oilers and the Eskimos and be able to talk to them. And I did both. I did pre and post game shows. I worked on every show here at the station. So definitely it was something I always wanted to do, Dusty, since a kid, but it took me a while to finally do it. And I'm glad I did. And it's 7 years, and I'm not saying, you never say never again. You never know what's going to happen, but I loved every minute of these 7 years doing podcasts and being at TSN 1260.
I just love that you used to pretend to be Morley Scott, because I know Morley watches this once in a while. I think that's hilarious.
But it's and that's because my cousin, even now, he still does a great impression of Rod Phillips. Yeah. Right. And like, it's hilarious. And I'd just be like the guy analyzing, and it was hilarious. And he wanted to do it too, but again, he took another.
That's what happens, path. Right?
Yeah. So and he listens every day. He texts me every post game show, and he loves that I'm on the air. And I think, and I said on the lowdown, that's the biggest joy for me was, your parents, your family, your friends. Yeah. They get to see you do something you love. I think that was the best part for me.
Cass, you went on to play professional hockey. when you were a kid, did you ever like mock broadcast? Like, did you think maybe broadcasting would be something that you wanted to get into, or you're just too damn focused on trying to make it to the show?
Oh, you're way too focused on trying to make it.
Yeah.
But you love that side of it too. I mean, I grew up just like so many hockey kids did in the city, just listening to the radio over and over. Like every once in a while, I mean, you'd get to watch on TV too, but it's like I had my like my little stereo, little boombox thing in the room, and if the hockey game was on and I wasn't allowed to be watching TV at that time, it was on the radio. Like I just listened to it all the time, so I totally understand that. Also, Hernan, I totally get being the old guy because I had to go back and finish my degree, and with part of that, like a lot of what I had left to do were like the small elective courses. So they're like entry level ones. Like I had a ton of options I was able to do. Like so, it's just you're taking like whatever you're interested in. And I remember going in, and it was like a political science, like 100 level class. And I was in there with like a bunch of 19-year-olds, and I'm just this like 32-year-old or whatever, 31-year-old dad. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. I wasn't grumpy, but everyone definitely knew I was old. And it's an interesting environment to be in a situation to be in. So yeah, no, kudos to you for walking that path and that journey. And just such a cool, as I said it before, such a cool opportunity for you. You're gonna crush it. It's gonna be awesome.
You know what's funny? My first weekend, Nate. So like the whole class, Dusty, you've gone through this, and it's like everybody just go for beers. So we're all going for beers, and there's one kid in my class, and he's turning 18. I'm like, what the? Like he's turning 18 that day.
He's 14
I'm just
years younger than you.
I was just like, wow, like it was great though. Like I'll say this, my classmates, they're all younger than me. They were great, man. They treated me like one of theirs, man. Like even though I was the old guy.
That's good, man. I ended up living with the old guy in our class for a couple years, actually. So it's funny how it all works out. All right, we've got lots to get to on this episode. Obviously, we'll dive into what we got to talk about it coming out of that game last night. Well, actually, I mean, we might as well just go there. I will note, no walking gauge, but we can't send Hernan off without a special episode of Two Guys Super Trivia. So Cass and Hernan, and what could be a very lopsided affair, will end up going head-to-head here a little bit later on. But lots to get to from this game last night against the Los Angeles Kings. Obviously, a shootout won by McDavid and Draisaitl both scoring, and Koskinen shutting the door. But Cass, let's dive right into what you want to talk about today, because this kind of sums up the whole sort of playoff vibe and a possible playoff series, likely playoff series between the Oilers and the Kings. So where do you want to start, bud?
I just want to start getting people prepared that the officiating that you saw yesterday is going to be the type of officiating you see in the playoffs. There is no point in getting frustrated about it or getting worked up about it or yelling or screaming or just being generally grumpy. That is the officiating you are going to get. The officials, even if they say they're not going to, they're going to try to remove themselves as much as possible. They're going to try to step back and say, we want to let the players play. Now, makes it, I think, a little bit more difficult for the Edmonton Oilers. But just emotionally, you guys, you got to start getting ready for this, because, it's going to happen. And it's not going to change from round 1, 2, 3, however deep the Oilers go. That's what we're going to see the entire rest of the way. Even the rest of the regular season, I think you're going to start to see it more and more often. And probably more so when the Oilers are playing playoff teams. Like if you're playing a game against a non-playoff team, they'll probably call it pretty tight. But against the playoff teams, they are going to just let the play go. So get yourself ready. The Oilers players need to get themselves ready. But as a fan and as someone in the media, just prepare to see a lot of things not be called. Just get yourself there, because it's coming.
I can never get there. I can never get there because it just frustrates me. Hernan, where do you come out on this? And then I got a question for Cass after.
Yeah, I hate picking me and Tommy on the post. We try to stay away from that, but yesterday it was so bad. And both sides. Like, this is not just an Oiler thing. Like, there was one missed interference call on Warren Fogle last night. That's so blatant interference. And the refs are just like, whatever. Like, and I'm with you, Dusty. I hate it. I hate that they changed the way they call the game. I hate that they manage the game. and it sucks because the Oilers' power play is pretty damn good, and in the playoffs, and even now, like they're not probably going to get a lot of opportunities. I absolutely hate it. It's funny because I was walking into the arena yesterday, and I walked right by all four, the two refs and the lines, and just kind of give them a stink eye, like, don't screw it up tonight, right? But they were awful, and I don't know if these guys get punished, because I know in soccer, Dusty, if a ref and his two linesmen have a bad game, they get suspended. They can't do games for like 2-3 months if they're that bad. And the NHL, I think, needs to start incorporating this. And I know they get only the top refs and all that go to the playoffs, but there's got to be a way to hold these guys accountable, because it's getting ridiculous.
But they're not. If the calls are about even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're going to have, maybe 3 on one team, 2 on the other, or 2 on one team, 1 on the other, whatever it is. It's like, if it's close, they're not going to get in egregious trouble unless they miss something that's like blatantly obvious. They're not going to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. And if they do, we're sure not going to hear about it publicly. Yeah, it is disappointing that they changed the way that the game is played.
Cass, where do you come out on that as a guy who played in the league? Like, as for players, I mean, do you just accept it and you're like, it's playoff hockey, that's the way it's got to be? Or do you guys get as frustrated as the fan base does with the playoff officiating? I'm curious about that fact, because maybe it's different when you're involved in the game. I don't know.
I think it depends on what type of player you are. For a guy like me, as a player, I was just like, great, anything goes. I can get away with whatever I want. And so it was better for players like myself, because you can get away with more. Now, if you would have asked the skill guys that same question, they probably would have had a very different answer of being like, no, like, there's an understanding that, this is just kind of the way it is. Like, they get that, but at the same time, they don't like it. They don't like it. They think that a hook should be a hook, and a slash should be a slash, a cross check should be a cross check, a high stick should be a high stick, a boarding should be a boarding, and so on. But it's not. And now looking back at it, I'm kind of like, it's kind of dumb. Like, I get that the intensity's ramped up, but it's really kind of dumb that they changed that standard, especially if you have one team that's playing better than the other team. And so you have like more of the hooking and holding and impeding and all that stuff. It's like, call the game.
Well, what it does is that it eliminates the advantage that the skilled guys would have in many of those situations, whether they should be called and those guys be getting opportunities on the power play, or it's a scoring chance that because it's the playoffs and it's a close call with a hook or a slash or something, they let it go. To me, it just brings down the skill. It brings down the McDavid level guys to the other elite guys in the league, or the elite guys down to the other good guys, or the good guys down to the other guys who are just trying to grind it out. Like, and maybe you want a level playing field, but teams are built to have those advantages, and those advantages are taken away because of playoff officiating, which I think has to be frustrated for everybody involved. I mean, unless you win the cup, you're probably pissed about officiating at some point in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, at least the Oilers' 5-on-5 plays improved under Woodcroft, because they're going to need it.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Like, that is going to be important. And you know what? We'll get to Hernan's. We got to talk about it in just a second. Oilers Kings last night. From what we saw, I mean, sitting back and just watching it on my parents' couch here in Cranbrook, man, I loved watching that hockey game. I mean, frustrated with the officiating at time, for sure, but the intensity was great. Pace of the game was really good. I thought McDavid was absolutely on fire, and more on him in a minute. Cash, your thoughts on if these two teams meet up in a best-of-7 series, and we're going to get to see them play again a week from today down in Los Angeles. I think that'll be 3rd and 4 days for the Oilers, but whatever. When we get a chance to see this again, and when we get a chance to see it in the playoffs, should it happen, if the game goes like it did last night, is that an Oilers advantage, or is that the Oilers won it last night, but the Kings had a really nice third period, got the 2 goals really quick there at one point in that hockey game. How much it was last night a preview, I guess, of what we're going to see is what I'm asking.
I think it was a decent preview, in that the Oilers, I think, have the ability to win the series unless they cripple themselves with big mistakes. That's going to be the series against the LA Kings. If they limit their crazy big blow-ups multiple ones in 14 seconds in the instance yesterday, I think they have a very good chance of winning a series against the Kings. And the reason I say that is if Edmonton tightens up defensively, LA is not an offensive powerhouse. They don't score a ton of goals. They don't generate a ton of offense, but they're opportunistic. If you just feed them something, yeah, they're going to score. And we saw, and what I liked and I loved about the Oilers game is we saw their ability to be physical and their ability to control the play in the offensive zone. And I think, again, maybe a little bit more difficult if you have Doughty in the lineup, but you just see how they're able to do that offensively. And so if they lock down the defensive zone a little bit more, I think the game bodes well for them, because if they don't have those massive breakdowns just back to back, I mean, you're up 3-1 in the driver's seat, really, at that point. And I don't think LA has the same type of push that they do. The reason LA had a big push was because they were down 3-1 and they scored 2 goals in 14 seconds. So all of a sudden you were just on your heels and they were pressing. Now, if you only gave up 1 goal and you were able to limit that, it's, again, just a completely different game with a completely different feel. So I think it bodes well to stylistically what we're going to see in the series, which is a more offensive Edmonton team trying not to make mistakes against a more defensive LA team. And if Edmonton limits, then they'll win a series.
It's it was an interesting game. I think both teams healthy. I mean, you probably go goaltending LA. Defense is pretty close, but I'd give the edge to the Kings because of Doughty. And up front, obviously it's Edmonton. So
yeah.
We were talking about this last night with Cass on the post game show, but and Dusty, I mean, you've been to live games. The Oilers, they do it to themselves, man. They have so many brain cramps during the game. I was watching their D-core yesterday closely, and every single one of them just makes boneheaded mistakes. And it's funny because the Oilers coaches are up there as well, and you can even hear them saying a few things what are we doing? The Oilers just gotta. The Oilers, because these guys are good players. Bouchard's young. He's going to make mistakes. But when it's Nurse, when it's guys like Kulak, you got to start limiting those, or you're not going to have a chance in the playoffs, right? If your defense is going to constantly make mistake after mistake, you don't have a chance. So I noticed that yesterday, that this team is just sometimes their own worst enemy.
It's going to be a hell of a series, though. If this is what we get, I think it'd be a really good series. And if the Oilers can play at a pace at or better than the Los Angeles Kings, but can they play wisely at that pace? Yeah. Can they not make those mistakes at that pace? Because if that all starts to click for you, I think the Oilers could be a really dangerous team. But if you have those massive mental blunders along the way, and your goaltender's not there to pick you up, and I think at times we might have to question that a little bit, then I mean, that could end up being your ultimate downfall. But a really good game last night. Hernan, what do we got to talk about as far as 97 goes?
Oh, man, this guy's just amazing. Another 100-point season. That's number 5. And keep in mind, he was at 97 when COVID hit. So
would have had it there, too. Would have been 6 in a row.
6. Now, his rookie year, 48 points in 45 games. I don't know if he would have got there. Probably not. Maybe 80 points or something like that. But it's just incredible. And I think that's why, we're so lucky here in Edmonton as fans, or if you're covering the team, to watch this guy night in and night out. And I think that's also why there's a lot of frustration, because you're in year 7 of Connor McDavid, and he's only 25, guys. This is ridiculous. But it's that you're still scratching and clawing to make the playoffs. There's still holes on this team. It's just you want to be more ahead than the Oilers are right now. And listen, they're probably going to the playoffs this year. Can they win a round? Maybe. We'll wait and see on that. But it's just the greatness of Connor McDavid, man. I just wish this team was more ahead, and just how lucky we are to watch this guy. That goal that was taken away yesterday, the right call, by the way, but that was such brilliance by Connor McDavid. That was all him. We're just lucky. And then you flip it over onto his running mate there in Leon Draisaitl. He's going to hit 50 again. He's going to hit 100. Guys, we're so damn lucky to have these two guys. They're only getting better. So I wish for all Oiler fans and if whoever covers this team, that this team figures it out and can one day bring the cup home, because these two guys are just far, far too great to not live something like that, right?
It's amazing watching him do what he does. he's got 100 points already. Like, we're talking already. Like, he's still gonna end up hitting 120 or 125, and that's probably even below some of the expectations that we had for this guy. And last night, I mean, if Connor McDavid plays last night, or like he did last night in the playoffs, it'll be a good series against the Kings, but Connor McDavid's going to win that series. Like, with the way he was going last night, and then Draisaitl, that one play where Draisaitl came in and then kind of got cut off and spun and put the backhander on net, and Quick had to kind of block it. Then Yamamoto got stopped on the rebound. I mean, Draisaitl was just going last night as well. Hernan, you're right. I mean, for whether it's us in the media or the fans or, dare we say it, the management of this team, the luck that you have to have Connor McDavid in your organization or watch him every night, it's another level. It's another level. And Cass, I had to deal with this. So I'm watching the game last night, and my mom, she's watching next to me, and they follow a lot of the Oilers stuff because of like my job and stuff. And she goes, there's Connor McDavid. She goes, I heard those people on TSN in Toronto saying that Austin Matthews is now the best player in the league. And even my mom's like, I don't know how they can say that. Are you watching this guy? I was just like, I know there's like this weird desire and obsession of everyone in Toronto, media, fans, whatever, to get to this point where they can anoint Austin Matthews as a better player than Connor McDavid. But all you have to do is watch Connor McDavid last night and know that it's not even a conversation. Matthews is a better goal scorer. You can have that. But Connor McDavid is the best player in the league. There's no conversation. Lights out. Lock it down. He's not going to, he might not win the Hart, but he should win the Lester every single bloody year because he's insane.
It's not even close.
No.
Like, and Austin Matthews is a great player, but it's not even
very
close.
good player, yes. Great,
amazing
player.
Yeah. He's one of the best players in the world.
Yep.
One of the best players in the world, but he's not the best player in the world. There may be a night that he plays that night and Connor's off, and Austin Matthews on that night was the best player in the world. That's going to happen. But if we're going to anoint someone on a general, regular occurrence basis to be currently the most excellent, best player in the world, it by far and away is Connor McDavid. How many times has Austin Matthews hit 100 points?
Not yet.
How many times has Austin Matthews hit 50 goals?
Coming up.
It's going to be one. Like, and
he could take a run at 60. I mean, the guy's special when it comes to scoring.
Of course, but so could Draisaitl.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, oh man, it is frustrating, and that's why I love making fun of him, because he's a wonderful player to watch. Like, amazing talent. As you said, I think the best goal scorer in the league currently, and I would have him ahead of Draisaitl in terms of pure goal scoring. I'd argue that Draisaitl may be a better player at times than Austin Matthews, although at times Austin Matthews is better than Draisaitl, but yeah, it is a little annoying. I'm going to agree with Mum and Nielsen.
Yeah, it's to the point where it's like, oh, he's got more goals now. Well, Austin Matthews is the best player in the world. It's like, no, he's a very, 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 very great player, and he's the best goal scorer in the league. And for a long time, I was in denial of that because I've been pro Ovi for 15 bloody years. But it's undebatable in my opinion. Austin Matthews, I think, is the best pure goal scorer in the National Hockey League. Could Draisaitl end up winning the Rocket this year? I think that's still very much in the conversation, 100%.
So
like, I think he could get it.
So much.
Yeah, I think he could get it.
Oh, that would be amazing. I would love if I hope Draisaitl gets it by one goal. That would be so amazing, because then just all your Toronto people are just going to just.
And you know who's going to get him that goal? Connor McDavid is going to set him up on power play for a one-timer to give him the Rocket Richard. I mean, that's just how it works. So, but yeah, I just thought that was a really good game last night. Like, kind of sets the tone for the playoffs, whether it be from an intensity level or from a frustrating officiating perspective. That tone has kind of been set. So a lot of good discussion there on the Oilers and what they were able to do. Do you guys see that Holloway goal? I retweeted it, or the assist.
The pass,
Yeah, he's got 6 assists in his last 3 games. Last night it was flipped up to him. He flipped it over the defenseman, skated around him, then fed it across to Sevier. Cass, do you think there's any chance we see Holloway here at some point?
Someone gets hurt, maybe.
Yeah. Like if a top 6 or top 9 guy, like top 6 guy goes down, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I would lean away from seeing it happen, knowing how Ken Holland operates. I'd say most likely not. But if someone gets hurt, then maybe you see him.
Skinner shutout too.
Yeah, he's got 4 now. Yeah. I think we're past the point of no return on that conversation, but I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. We'll see how it ends up working out. All right, boys. We've got one final game of Two Guys Super Trivia. I put together head to head as Hernan leaves the pod, and he's been with us from the very beginning. So Hernan, we are going to miss you, buddy, and I would be pretty stunned if you didn't beat Cass today in Two Guys Super Trivia to wrap this thing up. But Cass, there's only one man to beat, man. One man to beat.
Would be stunning.
Here we go. Here are your categories, okay? Joaquin Gage. He's not here, and you guys have been on a podcast with him for over 2 years now, so we'll see how well you know him. Connor McDavid. Analytics for Cass. That's been a big part of the show over the last 216 episodes. Two Guys and a Goalie. Some podcast questions for you. And, of course, we couldn't do it without this category, Kevin Bacon, to wrap up today's episode. So, Hernan, it is your final run through Two Guys Super Trivia, man. The board is yours.
Let's go Two Guys.
All right. What is the name of the cafe where we started filming Two Guys and a Goalie?
No.
Oh, Hernan.
Little Brick.
Little brick. Cass, you moved quick with that, but you seemed like you wanted to lean forward before you did the fingers.
It's because my phone went off.
Oh.
So you were halfway through the question. I knew it, but I was reaching forward to try to shut my phone off, and so I couldn't get my hands.
It looked like this. You kind of went like this. You
around
went
the microphone. They were under the microphone, and I was like, how do I get my hands up here? Because I know the answer to this.
All right. Hernan's got one. Hernan, your board.
Let's go with Gager.
This is a tough one. I wouldn't be. This is probably too difficult. I don't even know if this has come up, but in which country did Gager play his last professional hockey game? Cass.
England.
No, that's where he won the Hart Trophy, though. Hernan.
I'm guessing you're Slovakia.
No, it was Italy. The correct answer was Italy.
Damn it.
All right. Hernan, still your board.
McDavid.
McDavid was picked first. Eichel was picked second. Who did the Coyotes take third in the 2015 draft? Cass.
Wasn't it Clayton Keller?
No. Keller went ninth, I think, in a different year.
Oh my God, who did they take? Oh my God.
He was seventh in 2016.
Seventh, okay, seventh. Sorry, I thought ninth. 5, 4,
Blah.
3. Yeah,
Blah.
Hernan.
Dylan Strome.
Correct. Nice work, Nanso. Dylan Strome. All right, you're bored, bud.
Analytics.
Who played the role of Peter Brand in Moneyball?
No.
Hernan.
Jonah Hill.
Correct. You're bored, buddy.
Kevin Bacon.
Cass just sitting chickens. Cass, last time you crushed the Kevin Bacon category, so maybe this is your time again. Which movie led to our famous Kevin Bacon penis debate on the podcast? Cass.
Invisible Man.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's the wrong name.
What is it again?
Right movie, wrong name of movie.
Oh, I don't know it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cass, I'm gonna. No, I can't even do it. Hollow Man.
You can't give it to me.
Hollow Man. Hollow Man. All right, Hernan, still your board.
Let's go back to Gage.
You guys will know this one. Here we go. Which player scored 2 goals in 4 seconds on Gager? Hernan.
Quint.
Yes, correct. Darren Quint. All right, Hernan, still your board.
McDavid.
How many times has McDavid scored at least 40 goals in a season? Cass.
2.
Correct. 2 41-goal seasons. Cass is on the board trying to put together the most miraculous comeback in Two Guys Super Trivia history. You're bored, bud.
Let's go to Two Guys and a Goalie here, Dusty.
Okay. This is fitting. Who has won Two Guys Super Trivia the least amount of times? Cass.
Me.
Correct. All right, still your board, Cass.
Go to analytics.
All right, you guys. It would be funny if we don't know this, but what is the difference between Corsi and Fenwick?
Boo.
I don't. I know.
This is perfect.
Well,
Yeah, Cass.
attempted shots versus shots on net.
Close. Fenwick doesn't include blocked shots. So we'll just give it to you anyway. You're the analytics guy. We'll give it to you anyway.
Yeah.
All right, that makes 4-3 now. This is tight now. This is good. Cass, even though that one might not have been correct, I gave it to you. Here we go. What do you got?
Kevin Bacon.
Oh, boy. Is this what it comes down to? Yes. This is the final question. Okay, here we go. In which movie did Kevin Bacon go to outer space? Wow. Cass.
Armageddon.
Hernan.
I don't know why I'm laughing. Is it the one with Bullock, Sandra Bullock?
No.
No.
God
no,
damn it, you guys. Apollo
I haven't
13.
said it yet. I was gonna say that.
Apollo 13. The one with Sandra Bullock. Isn't that George Clooney? And they're like floating around out there?
yeah.
Gravity.
It was like
That was
the worst
Gravity,
movie
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, I
Never
did
got
not
good
like that
reviews,
movie.
so
They
I went
just-
to watch it, and it
Yeah.
was just so dumb.
You went to the theaters to see it?
I think so.
That one stings a little bit. All right, Hernan, 4-3. Congratulations on the victory, buddy. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
And that's gonna do it for our final episode with Hernan Salas here, episode 216. Hernan, can you believe we're on episode 216 from when you and I were like sitting in the basement at Little Brick trying to figure out how we're gonna stream from a dungeon?
Yeah. And I remember the first episode was like, let's just do a test run, and we ended up
We just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, thank you to you guys for everything, for putting me on the podcast during COVID. I mean, I'm always going to be greatly appreciative of that. I love the two guys. I know I have my nephew, a lot of friends that love this podcast. So I wish you guys nothing but the best. A lot of great memories, and I was gonna say like amazing moments talking to Grand Fear, Guy Carbonneau. I mean, we had a lot of cool guests on the show, but thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you for letting me be a part of it, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. And I'll be tuning in on my lunch, so I'm hoping for more Super Guys trivia.
I want you to go back to your 1260 listener days, and you're just ripping us in the comment section. That's what I want to see. That would
burner
be
account.
Yeah, Elks Hernan. Yes,
That would be hilarious.
that would be pretty funny. Cass, I guess I will talk with you on Monday, buddy. Enjoy your weekend. Hernan, best of luck, man. It's been great working with you here and at the radio station, and wish you the most of successful. We're gonna cross paths a ton here at CFL anyway. But Cass, what do you got, bud?
I was going to say two things. One, also, Hernan, we'll miss you greatly, as I've said already. Thank you so much for everything you do. We just appreciate you, and I appreciate you both as a friend and as someone just helping out with the podcast, and also on the pre and post game show. And whenever we've just done anything on the radio together, it's been a blast. Second, just because I told them that I'd get this out there today, hopefully we'll see you at the roast of Joaquin Gage, which is coming up. Just a reminder to get your tickets on that. And a very little point of note is that one of the cool things that we decided we're doing what's called the community table. So if you don't have a big group of friends to go with, or you're not buying a whole table, you're unsure of who to go with, or if you're buying a single ticket by yourself, maybe you just want to get to know some people better, maybe you want to make some new friends, we're doing a community table. So when you buy your tickets, if you're just buying a ticket for you, or if you're just bringing one friend and you don't want to be like the two people that don't know anyone else at the table, that all know each other, just type in community table in the notes on the ticket, and they'll make sure to get you to a spot where it's groups of people that just want to get to know new people and have a great time. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Might need a couple of community tables. Who knows?
We might need a couple community tables, but it'd be,
good.
I thought it was a great idea. I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Then you're not going to be with like 8 people from the same company who you don't know, and they're all telling inside jokes. It's like, it's a little bit new for everybody, and you can listen to the jokes and laugh and get to know some new people. So be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to that. Hernan, we'll have to get you out to that, buddy. And once again, thanks for all your work, Hernan. And I guess maybe we'll get you on as a guest at some point in the far away future,
awesome.
man. All right, we'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
See ya, buddy. Thanks, guys.